¿Qué pasa? There's two of those son of a bitches!
Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Shoot him!
As I mentioned before in my Spider-Man game reviews, which you should check out, they are pretty good, I really like the original Spider-Man movies, which were of course directed by Sam Raimi, who also made the Evil Dead movies, which you should also check out, as they are mostly fantastic, too, or at least good. But between the original Evil Dead and the original Spider-Man trilogy, he worked on something different, which feels like a mix of both. Today's topic: Darkman. Darkman is the story of Peyton Westlake, a doctor who is researching skin transplantations and has just made a breakthrough. He is close to perfecting his liquid skin transplants, which will help people like burn victims with a new skin, which looks very realistic. Unfortunately, the skin holds only 99 minutes after it was exposed to light. Then it will turn into liquid again. As he is close to complete his work, a gangster boss, Durant, and his posse are breaking into his lab, kill his assistant, torture him, and burn the lab down. They leave Westlake for dead, but he survives the explosion, but is left terribly disfigured. Ripped out of his life, disfigured and with nowhere to go, he decides to go back to the lab. Takes from his equipment what he needs and is rebuilding a lab in an abandoned factory building. In the hospital they also make a cut to separate some nerves, so he wouldn't feel the pain anymore. This has another side effect. He gets very angry, which makes him much stronger than a normal person. He tries to get back to his girlfriend, but is fighting his anger and doesn't want to expose her or anyone else to his terrible new look. So he starts fighting Durant, together with his new strength, his smarts and his disguises, which cause some wacky situations. He will also uncover a conspiracy which involves the future of the city. Darkman is quite unique in my opinion. It's a superhero movie which is not based on any existing property. It offers a lot of the familiar tropes which have been incorporated so effortlessly here, and also adds something fresh or unique to the story, which keeps it interesting. It's deliberately wacky and campy at points, and has some scenes which feel very Evil Dead. And other moments which are very superhero-like. The style is very over the top. Darkman's signature move, for example, is just jumping from the ceiling down to his prey like a monster. Also, for example, the State Fair scene, which, I mean, take a look. There's also quite some punching and people being thrown around, which leads me to one of the things I don't quite get about this movie. It's pretty brutal in concept, but it's not really seen on screen. The great intro scene, which shows Durant and his mob taking out another gang, shows people are getting shot and there's some blood, but when Durant is starting to cut off fingers, there's no blood at all. Everything else is also quite bloodless, or they cut away before the blood flows. This is an R-rated movie after all, but it feels quite tame in my opinion. It's more like a very edgy PG-13. I mean, some of Raimi's PG-13 movies are more violent and bloody than this, but that's more of a minor gripe. Maybe that was just Raimi's style at the time. I mean, Army of Darkness is also not that bloody. The cast is pretty well known too. In the starring role we see Liam Neeson.
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
He does a fine job, but to be honest, I think there are other people who could have done a good job as well. I mean, I like him as an actor, but he always does a fine job. But someone who was better in playing a wacky character and a serious one would have been probably better. If I remember correctly, Bruce Campbell was supposed to be the star of the movie at some point, and I think that would have been amazing. Now it's just a cameo. Frances McDormand is playing the female lead, and here I also have to say she's doing a fine job, but they probably could have cast someone else here too. But it's fine, as I said. The bad guys are quite well cast. Larry Drake is a good fit as a gang boss, as his physique is already quite convincing. The actual main bad guy is pretty good too, especially as he shows his true colors in the reveal twist, and Ted Raimi is just perfectly cast as always. There's also another cameo by John Landis, as I guess he's always available for a cameo. The score by Danny Elfman is also fantastic as always. The story itself is pretty cool, the aesthetic is very comic book movie-like, the action is fine and the acting fine too. But I do like Spider-Man or most Evil Dead movies just much more. Don't get me wrong, this is a good movie. It's entertaining, but it feels like it's holding back. It could be funnier, bloodier, just more outrageous. It should have taken the best things out of a horror movie and a superhero movie, but it just mixes it in a way which is okay. It's good, but not great. It has style, but doesn't commit fully to it, which is unfortunate. But it's still worth a watch if you like to see another kind of superhero movie. Even though I have the same complaint with every movie which has Bruce Campbell in it. There's just not enough Bruce Campbell. Darkman gets a 7 out of 10 and I will most likely check out the 2 direct-to-DVD sequels, and I wonder how they will hold up against the first one.
I've got 7 more points.